Hello Mazurka First Violins, it's Juliana, and here is your practice video for Professor Wigstein's Amazing Melody Machine. Today we're gonna work on some tricky notes, some hard rhythms, articulations, dynamics. We're gonna pluck and count, and we're gonna hover bow and count. So let's start at the beginning. I just have a suggestion. I think it'd be great if we all did fourth fingers on most of the A's in the first measure, just so we can avoid those nasty string crossings, right? So I think we should do fourth fingers for the first four A's, and then the one right before the B at the end of the measure, we can do open because you're going on to the A string. So if you want to play it with me, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Hopefully you guys maybe write in your part some fours just to remind you when you're practicing. Next, I want to move on to measure 13. This has some funky intervals that we're not really used to. So we're gonna play one note at a time just to really get those notes in tune. Again, this is measure 13. So we're gonna start with a 3 on the E string, playing a nice strong A. And then we're gonna go to an F natural, so make sure it's really low. C sharp, so make sure it's high because it's gonna be a little bit of a reach. That's my hand. A little bit of a reach from the F natural, sorry. So C sharp, open A, C sharp, really low F natural, and then back to the top with an A. Awesome. Now let's do that a little bit more in rhythm. So 1, 2, ready, go. Awesome. Okay. You guys can pause the video and maybe just work on that a few more times, really get comfortable with those intervals and make sure it's super in tune. Awesome. That happens again in measure 16, so watch out for those intervals. Maybe write in a low 1 above those F naturals or like a down arrow to remind yourself to play that it's low, lower than you think it will be. Next, at 17 through 18, we have some chromatic stuff. So I'm gonna go really slowly through those two measures for you guys to practice getting those notes pretty in tune. So we're gonna start with a 1 on the G string on that A. So we've got A, then we've got B flat, so that's right next to A, B natural, so scoot your second finger up a little bit, then you've got C natural, C sharp, open D, E flat, so low 1, E natural, then we've got F natural. Okay, so that's the chromatics from 17 through 19. I'm gonna play that a little bit more in tempo now. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, feel free to pause the video, practice that by yourself, really get those intervals into your head and into your fingers to make it more comfortable. And the last little notey spot that I want to do is just the end of 19. It's pretty similar to 13 and 16 with the intervals, but the notes are in a slightly different order. They start on a C sharp instead of starting up on that A. So just slowly the end of 19, C sharp, open A, C sharp again, low F natural, and then the high A to finish it off. Awesome. So now all of 19 in tempo. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. So that is the kind of tricky note part. So why don't you guys pause the video, just practice through all those tricky note spots before we work on some rhythm. Okay, and so hopefully you went and worked on the note spots. So now we're gonna do a little bit of rhythm. So I want to start at the first measure. So the first three measures all have, you're bouncing back between your triplets and your quarter notes and your eighth notes. So that's kind of tricky, right? So hopefully you guys can pause the video, try to clap and count the first three measures by yourself, and then we'll come back and you guys can clap and count it with me to make sure that you guys are all set. So do that now. Okay, so now I'm gonna put my metronome on 84. This is 84 to the quarter note, and we are going to clap and count the first three measures of the piece. So 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1. Awesome. Okay, so that was the first tricky rhythm spot. Really just getting comfortable with the flow between the triplets and the eighth notes, because it's like 3 against 2. It's a little funky, but I'm sure with practice you guys will get it. Just a reminder, you can go into settings and slow down this video if you want to clap and count it with me at a slower speed before working it up. Okay, next tricky rhythm spot. I want to do measures 9 through 12. But before we do the whole thing, I just want to do 2 measures by themselves. So measure 10, we've got some rests and then we've got some 16 notes. So go try to clap and count that now. And now you can do it with me. So again, this is 84. So, and measure 10. So 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and. Awesome. Now we're going to do measure 12, which has got some weird rests in the middle. So go try to count that by yourself. And now you can try to do it with me. So again, this is measure 12. 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. Awesome. Okay, hopefully you guys slow that down to what you need and are now comfortable with those 2 measures. So now I want to do 9 through 12 so we also get those transitions between the measures. So again, this is 84. Try to clap and count it by yourself and then come back to the video. So 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. Awesome. Hopefully that went well for you guys. That is a little fast. So if you want to slow down the video or just pause it, practice with the metronome by yourself at a slower tempo, that's perfectly okay. It's much better to start slow and then work it up than to try to just like rush through it fast. Yeah, so I think that is most of the tricky rhythm spots. There is a spot between 14 and 15 where you have that rest and then the 16th notes, but it's pretty similar to the other spots, and I'm sure that you guys can count through that with the foundation that we just laid down. So next we're going to pluck and count through the whole thing. But I'm going to slow down my metronome to 72 just to make it more comfortable so I can really pay attention to all the things I want to pay attention to while I'm playing. So this is at quarter note equals 72. Again, if you need to slow this down in settings, that's perfectly fine. That's awesome. And then just try to work it back up. So got my metronome on, and we are going to pluck and count from the beginning to 21. So 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1. Okay. That was funny. My voice always gets kind of dry and I'm like out of breath by the end of that. Hopefully that went well for you guys. And if any of you guys could tell, I tried to do some of the dynamics in my voice just so I could also pay attention to that. So if you guys want to try that too, that's awesome. So using that as a segue, now we're just going to take a look at our articulations and our dynamics throughout this section. So first, I just want to take a look at our articulations. So at 9, we've got those nice dashes under the 4 quarter notes. So what does that mean? Hopefully you answered me. That we're going to play long, notes, legato. So at 9, if you guys want to play with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want a little space between the notes, but we want really a smooth stroke. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see how I have like that little bit of space in between the notes? That's exactly what we want. Next, in complete contrast to that, in measures 13, we have staccato markings. What does that mean? That means, that we're going to play super duper short. So that's going to be completely different than what we just played in measure 9. So measure 13, if you want to play with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. Super short and crisp, kind of angry, you know? Awesome. And then right back at 14, you've got that legato with some space again. And you also have the staccato back at 16. Now, for where we're going to really put the bow for a bunch of these places, let's start at the beginning. At the beginning, we're super loud, right? So we want our bow right near the bridge, probably around the middle. So if you guys want to play with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I made a little squeak there, but that's okay. Yeah, so you just want to be in around the middle and definitely towards the bridge to get that forte sound. Next, we're actually pretty forte for like the whole piece, right? Except at 17, where we go to subito piano. So we want to get like super quiet, super quickly. So there's no decrescendo, you just go immediately, right? So 16 is forte, and then 17, you're going to go immediately to piano. So let's try that. So with me, 1, 2, oh, this is 16. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quiet. Yeah, so you see how we went from really, really loud to really, really quiet. We really want to show that contrast between those two measures. Now, we're piano for 17 and 18, but then in 19, we've got a huge crescendo to forte in 20. So, why don't you guys pause the video and try to practice those 3 measures to really get the piano to the forte. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to play it with me. So 17, we're going to start really, really quiet. We're going to stay quiet all the way through 18, even if we want to crescendo, because I definitely want a crescendo. So, but we're going to stay quiet until we hit that crescendo in 19, do a gradual crescendo until we're really loud in 20. So starting in 17, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And you can really practice in all of those really important dynamics and articulations. So maybe pause the video right now, make sure you're comfortable with all of the dynamic mapping and our articulations, especially in measures like 9, 13, 14, 16, and get comfortable with that subito piano between 16 and 17, all that good stuff. So maybe pause the video now and work on that. Okay, we're back. Hopefully you feel really good about your notes, your rhythms, your articulations and dynamics, your whole bow mapping. Now, since we've done all of that work, we're going to do some hover bowing at 84. So while we're hover bowing, we want to really think about like our bow weight, our bow distribution, where we are in the bow. Are we close to the frog? Are we close to the bridge? Are we close to the fingerboard? All that good stuff. Think about the articulations that you want to do and hopefully show them in your bow too. I'm going to try to also show the dynamics in my voice. If you guys want to try that, go for it. So this is 84. I'm going to turn my metronome on. If you guys need to slow it down, again, go to settings, just slow it down. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. So from the beginning, this is hover bowing. Remember, we're going to put our hands at the balance point, and right here is going to be like the frog for me. So I can go a little bit past my tip to compensate for the bow like part lost here. So again, this I'm going to treat like my frog. We're going to put our hands here so we don't strain our hands when we're playing. So I'm going to start right here. So this is the beginning to 21 quarter equals 84. So 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 lolly, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 slow bow, 3 4 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 4 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Got a little tickle in the middle of that. But that's okay. Yeah, if you for practice purposes I kept going, but obviously stop if you need to cough. Yeah, that happens to me sometimes, I'm sure. Sorry. But okay, yeah, so that felt pretty good. Hopefully you guys can hover bow a few times with my recording. Do it by yourself, slow it down with the metronome. Really just try to get the full idea of what you want to sound like when you are actually playing with the bow. So, excuse me. I hope you guys enjoyed this practice video. Also, on Mr. Hammond's page is going to be my performance video of this. So you can practice with me if you want. Also, look on for the other helpers' performance videos. So you can also play with them, play a nice duet, see how your parts go together and explore the other parts that the orchestra has and what they're playing in this part, because that's always important too. I hope you guys have an awesome day and you enjoyed this practice session. Adios!